In the last episode, I introduced the first 5 tips of how to get great teaching evaluations. If you have not watched that episode yet, I put the link in the description section. So make sure you check them out. In this episode, I will offer 5 more tips. One of the things that students dislike about a teacher is their way of providing feedback. Tip number 6, highlight the positive and point out areas of improvement. Students are in school for the sake of learning, not to be criticized. When you are providing feedback on written assignments, think of the sandwich method. Highlight the good points, point out the area of improvement, and then provide positive solutions to help them with these areas. Don't just fill their paper with red marks without giving a little context on how and why it can be better. Highlight the parts of their work that you find commendable to boost their confidence. It is part of our job as a teacher to help them improve, and you do that by building up their confidence. Obviously, you also need to let them know what areas you think can use some improvement, as well as give them tips on how they can improve. Students will appreciate these little notes. They will notice them and they will remember to apply them in their next work. One more thing. When you provide a feedback on your students' assignments, make sure you do it in a timely fashion. Returning their work in a week or 2 is great because it keeps the assignments or result fresh in their mind. Number 7, use active learning methods. If you are lecturing your class entire time, consider adopting some active learning methods. Unfortunately, students' attention span are getting shorter and shorter. If you are giving a lecture for the entire hour, half of the students are probably lose their interest. Try to give a lecture for 10 to 20 minutes and then use some active learning methods such as role play, simulation, in-class exercises, pop quiz, student lead discussion, and things like that. Listening to a lecture is the most passive way of learning, so consider using some active learning methods. Tip number 8, explain the purpose of each assignment. When you give an assignment, explain why you are giving that assignment and what expectations you have. Whenever possible, provide a written assignment guideline that includes the importance of the assignment, your expectations, the elements that should be included, etc. When the students know the reason why they have to do the assignment, and if they agree with its importance, they are more likely to complete the assignment with enthusiasm. Tip number 9, rethink the purpose of grading. I think the toughest part of teaching is grading. Evaluating someone's hard work is not an easy thing to do. Think about why we grade our students' work. It is not to punish or reward them, but to help them learn. If you rethink your purpose while grading students' work, the way you comment and grade will change. Never forget that our job of grading as a professor or a teacher is not to take off points, but to help students learn and improve. Tip number 10, do not allow cell phones or laptops. Many of you may not agree with this point. Typing what we want using a computer is easier and faster than writing the same thing by hand. Even in college classes, professors allow students to use laptops to take notes because more students prefer it that way. Only in my teaching career, I let my students use their laptops to take notes. Unfortunately, this did not last longer than a year. as only a small number of students actually used their laptop only for note-taking. A large number of students were doing fun things such as checking Facebook, chatting, or trying to buy a nice t-shirt rather than paying attention to my lecture. Moreover, glancing at the screens to see what other students were doing was a distraction to the students sitting nearby. After that, I established a no laptop and communication device policy for my class. An empirical study conducted by researchers justifies my policy by supporting the detrimental effect of using laptop to take notes. They didn't even consider other negative effects of using laptops during lectures, such as the almost inevitable distraction it causes, but focused solely on exam performance. Their study demonstrates that laptop note-takers performed poorly, especially on conceptual questions, compared to longhand note-takers. Students who take notes on their laptops tend to type lectures almost verbatim instead of understanding and processing the information and writing it in their own words. So this study proves that longhand note-taking is more effective because it requires immediately processing the information. On the one hand, laptop note-taking tends to lead to superficial information processing. When I introduced this no laptop policy to my students, I explained why I have it and how it has proven to be effective. Once they understand, they do not complain about this policy. I want to note that some disabilities make the use of laptop necessary, so you might need to revisit this policy if needed to accommodate students' individual circumstances. In the last 2 episodes, I shared 10 practical tips that you can adopt to improve your teaching evaluations. You don't need to apply all of them at once. Just pick and choose the tips that are applicable to your situation. I hope these tips can help you get better teaching evaluations. Thank you so much for watching and see you in my next video.